Halt! Top 10 haunted asylums across the globe. I'm Nathan, you're you. You like the macabre, and I do too. Let's jump in. We're talking about these haunted asylums, and this is what they're called. So don't come at me with all your frustration in the comments. I didn't name them. Be sure to subscribe. Click the bell to be notified when I release content like this, like the 10 most haunted asylums, like St. Augustine's Asylum, or Augustine if you're very fancy, in England, though, not in Florida. This place is known for its electroshock therapy. You remember those movies, they have those paddles on either side of the temple. I don't know why they thought, hey, this is a good idea. This is really going to help. This is going to really help recirculate the brain's waves, and that's what they thought. But in fact, it was the polar opposite. It causes a lot of adverse effects. Now, if you are a doctor or know someone who's a doctor who can show definitive proof, because I'm not a doctor, I'm just a musician and mortician. My songs are inspired by my works in the profession and those I work alongside. And my song last time is number 12 at radio, 21 at Billboard, and my new single, Greenback Boogie, If You Like Suits, is out. We're talking about haunted places, like this place, this asylum. They say that they have ghostly sightings where they feel watched, they feel and hear screams. Asylums across the globe tend to have similar stories. I mean, they probably weren't really taken care of. This was long before mental health awareness. Mental health was even a conversation, right? They had, you're a nut job, and instead of, well, they didn't have the understanding. So can you fault them? Let me know in the comments below. Do you have any familiarity with St. Augustine or Augustine's Asylum? Asylum. That sounds like that's a good title. Number 2 on 10 most haunted asylums across the globe, Ararat Lunatic Asylum. Yep, that's true. It's in Australia. Lunatic. That sounds like a very heartfelt statement and title to call someone. Hey, loony. That's not too pleasant. The largest asylum at one point in Australia, the Lunatic Asylum here, it's infamous for over 13,000 spirits that haunt and roam this former asylum because they died here. And because of that, it is one of the top tour spots for paranormal investigators, ghostly chasers, ghost chasers. It's an asylum, lunatic asylum at that. I mean, these people were probably not taken care of well. I could be incorrect. Let me know in the comments below. I know of places like mental health facilities now today. They try their best, I would think, because again, mental health awareness, it's a super big passion of mine. Jokes aside, as someone who has struggled with and suffered from mental health challenges, it's an ongoing journey. It's a dance every day. I sympathize, I empathize, I get my challenge, and I can't imagine. But long before people had conversations so open like this, and maybe you're watching this video and you're like, it's still a little taboo to talk about, but I can't imagine back then. I mean, they named them lunatic asylums. Give me a break. Number 3 on our list of 10 most haunted asylums, we're at a Massachusetts facility, Taunton State Hospital in Massachusetts. Oh, home to the serial killer, Honora Kelly. It's like honor Kelly, which is ironic. Let's honor by killing a bunch of people. There's a bunch of rumors of satanic cult-like activities and other things such as that, like probably seance type things. Nonetheless, it definitely has caused a rift because if you visit it now, it's like, ooh. All of these were to have occurred, all of these rituals, if you will, occurred in the basement of the facility. If you go to the basement, of course you aren't getting that bad juju out. It's stuck down there. What? Heat rises, right? Goes to the top. It's a place where riddled with stories of paranormal activity. Again, you run into these places where you bring in heaviness and weight, and especially a serial killer who obviously doesn't believe in the sanctity and beauty of life and that people are lesser than, that's fine. They're totally just disposable. And then you're bound to get some heaviness and weight. Let me know in the comments below. Are you familiar with this serial killer? Number 4 on our list, we're going back to the loony bin because they call it Beechwood Lunatic Asylum back in Australia. I would never have titled it that. I don't know why. They used to call places for those with special needs, unique abilities, autism and Down syndrome and other forms of developmental disorders. They would call them a spastic home back in the day. Like where I'm from, they used to call it the spastic home. Like, and when I was a kid, you put someone down by calling them a spaz. Lunatic asylum. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you're familiar. I could probably find it. Just Google it. Guys. The Beechwood Lunatic Asylum in Australia. Australia has a lot of them, it seems. You Aussies. Over 9,000 deaths occurred here. Even the wrongful death of a Jewish woman, and then there was a wrongful death of this little boy named James. Now, James is the little guy, always kids. It's always kids that are wanting to play in their afterlife. It's pretty scary. It's kind of an ongoing theme. If you're just joining, I'm a musician, mortician. I've spent 13 years in the funeral profession. My works are inspired by songs that are charting at radio. I'm an independent artist. We talk about paranormal. We talk about crime podcasts. We talk about all kinds of stuff here. It's like a quagmire of things. And the ongoing recurring theme is a lady in white, or in this instance at the lunatic house asylum is a little boy named James who just kind of hangs out with people who come to visit the once asylum. 9,000 people died in this place. I've talked about being in the funeral profession, and you walk into these halls and walls and these places of ceremony, and people in life have energy and this ability to sense, oh, that's a comfortable environment. And also in death, there's this level of that. There have been a few times where you walk into a visitation room or a chapel to turn lights off, to shut down for the night, and you have this like heavy weight about it. It's minimal that it's happened to me, but I've had it experienced. I think in life you have it, in death as well. Let me know in the comments below. Do you feel this sense of energy? I mean, James is wandering around, just kind of hanging out. Let me know. Number 5 on the list of top 10 haunted asylums across the globe, we're going to Ohio in the United States of America. Yep, and we're going to Athens Lunatic Asylum in Ohio. It was known for its mistreatment of patients. There you go. You have it. Back in the day, it's pretty common practice. Unfortunately, it might still exist in some instances, especially like senior living facilities, other facilities where people don't really have a voice per se. In this instance, they definitely didn't. It was known for overcrowding in this asylum. And last but not least, it was known for its misuse of ice pick lobotomy. I don't really want to dive into knowing too much of that, but because of, and the deaths that occurred, then you have, of course, similar stories to that of the last 5 we've talked about. I'm glad that people are having conversations about mental health awareness, and there are medications or doctors and licensed therapists who are working hard and diligently to help. But these overcrowded facilities at the time and this mistreatment of nobody's lesser than, no one. Let me know in the comments below if you're familiar with this lunatic asylum. Again, I didn't name it. In Ohio, have you been there? Have you been around these facilities? Let me know in the comments below. And I'm glad you're here. Be sure to follow and click the bell to be notified when I release content like this one, the 10 most haunted asylums. Before I go on, did I mention the thousands of unmarked graves surrounding the facility in Ohio? I didn't, but now you know. So if you go and you wander around, don't say I did not warn you. Number 6 on the list, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. We're going to the mountains, folks. Maybe we're not, but I think we are. This place is known for its massive size, huge. And of course, yep, abuse, mistreatment of patients. It's kind of a recurring theme in a sense. I'm not judging. I mean, obviously I can call it for what it is. It's spade's a spade, and that's crappy treatment of human beings. Nonetheless, that obviously just is a massive snowball into what's to come. From the electroshock chambers, because apparently electroshock therapy was just so helpful. Wouldn't you think that they, after a time, like they keep bringing these people in and they just, I guess they were wanting to make them into zombies. Nonetheless, they hear screams. And also you have a lot of people having stories of being attacked. I guess that would be because of people in life being mistreated. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Do you believe any of this stuff? Are you on the fence like me? And you just really like this unknown, the unexplained. This obviously is something you've heard about numerous times, the paranormal, the attacks, the noises, the sounds, let me know your comment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to know what you think of this. Do you believe in this? I don't know if it was the mountains or not, but it was in West Virginia. And I would assume a friend that came from West Virginia, and it's just a mountainous state, Virginia. Number 7 on the list, we're going to Danvers Lunatic Asylum in Massachusetts, Massachussetts. Yes. This facility is known as the birthplace of the prefrontal lobotomy. There's a dark connection with the Salem village here. It's known for eerie sounds and sightings before its demolition. So does that mean that now that it's demolished, they don't have the sightings, they don't have those sounds? Massachusetts is riddled with history of, you had the Salem witch trials and all the heaviness and witchcraft and sorcery that had come from. I mean, it was one of the states that they came and they founded and they moved down at the very beginning, the inception of the United States of America. So in the 1600s, and then obviously now you've got this lunatic asylum. Again, I'm just the messenger reading from the teleprompter. Let me know in the comments below. Have you been to this area in Massachusetts for the Danvers Lunatic Asylum? Have you? Next on the list, the Penhurst Asylum in Pennsylvania. Yes, this one is actually an instrumental facility because it was the location of the Halderman versus Penhurst case, where they highlight, finally, abuse of patients, the treatment of, because, wow, for so long before, it's totally fine. They're fine. The forgotten, they were forgotten. And for the longest time, it's like even the names that you call them, the places that they reside, just throw them over there in the lunatic asylum. And this facility in Pennsylvania is the first to highlight the mistreatment of, which is amazing. And since then, there's many paranormal investigators who have talked about a bunch of chilling experiences, of course, similar to that of things that I've talked about in this video and previous videos, but I think it's obviously a recurring theme here. You treat people poorly in life, then perhaps if in fact there is energy and spirits that exist in death, then they gonna come after you. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. Halt. I think it's interesting and important. You see somebody stand up for something that they believe in. Wow, you're mistreating someone. And that, in fact, is what causes, change. Having the discipline and the strength to stand up for what you believe in. So if you have an opportunity to stand up, to rise up, there wasn't a rule book until there was a rule book. Next on the list, Rolling Hills Asylum in New York. This is the birthplace of the gentle giant. It's not a birthplace. There was a guy that lived there. His name was Roy. And now in death, they say that this giant man that was in life is now a giant ghost in death. And he's just very gentle, very sweet. Bunch of reports of that. And it's notoriously known for its diverse inmates. Just a bunch of mean people in life. So in death, it carries a heaviness and weight, allegedly. Let me know, have you been to this place, the Rolling Hills Asylum in New York? You notice how it's called an asylum now. They dropped the lunatic. So we're obviously going down the timeline to get more current, if you will. Let me know in the comments below if you've been there to New York City. New York City! It's not New York City, it's just the Rolling Hills Asylum. Last but not least on this list, we're going to my home state, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky, just an hour and a half east of where I'm from. It's known for its death tunnel. Yep, it was this massive facility. It's still standing to this day. You can actually pay for ghost tours, specifically at Halloween, but even year-round. You can even pay to stay the night there. People see shadowy figures walking on the walls and the ceilings. It's creepy as hell. It was so massive, it had its own post office. It literally is filled with so much heaviness and darkness. It's known for the death tunnel. So it's a 700-foot plus long tunnel. And what is it for? Yep, they would take patients. It was a TB hospital. And they would throw them down the tunnel couldn't think of another word. They would place them in the tunnel and they would slide down this chute and onto a pile of other deceased loved ones. They had to clear space for, other sick patients and patients that were just overcrowded and probably a lot of mistreatment of. Nonetheless, it's no longer in operation. It is owned by a private individual who apparently is just making and raking in dough, because people like you and me, I won't ever go there. People like you go there to see if you can too have an experience such as those documented. These are 10 of the most haunted asylums, sanatoriums, unfortunately, lunatic bins in the world. Let me know in the comments below which of these you've been to, and be sure to follow. Click the bell to be notified when I release content exclusive here. Check out all my music streaming on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream. And yes, too, I have a podcast. Write it down. There's your homework. and I'll see you around the river bend at the next loony bin. Words matter.